My name's Amata, and in this Red Gaming Tech video I have a little bit of a combo video for you, and the first item on our itinerary is to do with Toshiba. Now, they haven't really been having that good of a time. They've had some financial woes for, let's say, a while, and of course there's been whispers and rumblings that they were not only up for sale, but Apple were thinking of buying them. Now, obviously, when it comes to all things phones, Samsung is pretty much the king of memory. So as much as Apple and Samsung are competing with each other, they have to kind of work together because obviously it benefits them both. Obviously, Samsung get a share of all those iPhones, and obviously Apple gets, Samsung memory chips in their phones. But it seems that Apple might be, putting an end to that, much to Samsung's woe, if this is true, as it looks like the deal to sell Toshiba has been finalized, as the TMC, which is the Toshiba Memory Corporation, is going to be bought by a consortium of companies led by Bain Capital. The sale is going to be for roughly $18 billion, and basically is going to let Toshiba offset losses from other businesses and so on. And, these are the losses that have been threatening their place not only in the stock exchange, but obviously their status as a company. And we can expect to see this actually come to fruition by March 2018. Now, I said this was a consortium. You might go, okay, so who's in it? We got any heavy hitters? And well, yeah, the answer is basically every hitter that you might expect is interested in this. They are Apple, Kingston, Seagate, and Dell. And SK Hynix as well are also going to be in the mix. So, Samsung are definitely going to be raising an eyebrow and getting a little bit concerned at this, as of course it does mean that Apple have very much the potential to cut that cord, as it were, and not have to rely on Samsung anymore for their memory chips, which obviously could be very, very interesting and could have a huge impact on Samsung itself. And obviously they've not exactly had a good time of it lately with all their exploding phones and whatnot. So obviously they are, not relying on Apple's revenue from this revenue share or whatever, but, losing that would be huge. That's got to be many billions of dollars that they would lose out on if this story is actually true. And obviously Samsung are not exactly going to take this lying down. They would maybe perhaps convince Apple to not do this. There's going to be deals and meetings taken by some very important people in some very shiny, expensive office, I'm sure. But this has the potential to have some pretty long-reaching ramifications in the mobile phone space, and of course outside of it as well. Our second item is actually to do with Vega. Now, the other day, you might have seen a report that we covered from Tom's Hardware, the German branch of that website to be exact, which basically reported that Gigabyte would not be working on a custom RX Vega 64 graphics card. Pretty reliable source, yep, I'm sure you'd agree, but according to hardware.info's sources, that's actually not the case. We are going to be seeing RX Vega 64 cards come from Gigabyte, and there's going to be several models as well. According to their source, they are going to be installed week 42 or 43, which is basically mid to late October. Now, this is definitely interesting, as of course it kind of runs counter to not only that report from Tom's Hardware that we covered the other day, but obviously the report that I discussed recently that there's a delay in issuing custom Vega cards. For example, the only custom one from ASUS, the Vega 64 Strix, was delayed until October, and MSI being the only one currently on the market that has a custom Vega 64 card, that, to be honest, it might as well be reference, because it does have some tweaks and changes and all that, but it is very, very close to reference design. So it's not really what you would think when you think, I want a custom card. You want something that has more fans and stuff tweaked and stuff improved or whatever. That's what you have in mind when you're buying a custom card. You don't really want slightly different from reference. So if that's the case, then at least we're getting this eased, I guess, with the 64 range. Unfortunately, no word from this source on if we're getting any 56 custom cards. I myself am waiting to see what's happening there before I think of upgrading. I definitely got my eye on a 56, but I definitely want to wait for the custom cards to become available because, again, tweaks, improvements, blah, 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 blah. So it seems that October seems to be the month when this sort of pressure on the expectation for custom cards is going to be alleviated, as of course we're going to have the ASUS one come out, and then of course these ones from Gigabyte, assuming this source is correct. Again, we're talking hey, this source from Tom's Hardware said one thing, and this source from hardware.info said the other thing. Which one is right? Well, unfortunately, the only way to know is for AMD to make an official comment, or any of the manufacturers, of course, from the graphics cards, or just to wait. Yep, I know it's going to take a while, but, you know, it's only a couple of weeks. Not that long. Be here before we know it. So, yeah. The wait might finally be over if you're in the market for a Vega 64. When it comes to 56, I think we've got a while yet, guys. So buckle up, because we're in for a long ride. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.